Hey guys, what is going on? It is a beautiful sunny day here in South Florida, but it is a very windy day, so it is the perfect day to make another fish jaw mount video. Now, as well as turning this fish head into a jaw mount, we're also going to make fish head soup. And in my opinion, making fish head soup is basically the best way to really respect your catch completely. Last night we ate the fillets of this golden tilefish and it was absolutely delicious, so today we are going to make fish head soup as well as the jaws eventually. Victor caught this a few days ago and it was how many pounds, Vic?
18 pounds.
It was an 18-pound tilefish. Tilefish have giant heads, so they actually have a lot of meat in the head. If you look right there, look at that slab of meat that's in the head, in the cheeks, and these are the collars, which would be stuff if you're not making a soup out of the head that you're just wasting, and you're going to be mind blown with the amount of meat that we're actually going to get off of this head. In preparation to boil the fish head, we took the gills out of the fish, and normally if we were doing fish head soup, we would have tried to take all the scales off the head by scaling the throat and the cheeks and everything like that, which we didn't actually do with this, but I'm just gonna have to pay attention when it comes time to take the meat out that I tried to avoid the scale. So if you're gonna do this, I definitely recommend trying to scale the head so you won't have to deal with the scales later on. We are doing this outside because anytime I can avoid any fishy smells in my house, I always do that, and it's a beautiful day. First thing we're gonna start with is our veggies. We have the leaves of kohlrabi here, 2 onions, 1 head of garlic, 1 carrot, and about like 5 celery stalks, as well as some whole peppercorns. So we're gonna put this all into the water now. Next thing I'm putting in is some vegeta, which is a dry spice blend that we just like using for soups. Absolutely delicious. If you've never had this before, definitely recommend getting some. I would have loved some fresh thyme, but for some reason, I'll show you guys my little plants over there in a second. It's the only thing that I can't get to live right now, so we gotta go with some ground thyme. Whoa, windy.
A little bit for the pot, a little bit for me.
So I can't grow thyme, but I can grow parsley, so break off a nice chunk of fresh parsley. You can't beat nice, fresh, homegrown, organic parsley. So add this in there too. So the vegetables have been going for about 10 minutes, and now we are going to add the fish head in. I might have to add some water, we'll see. I didn't want to put too much water in at the beginning and then have it overflow. Now this is the collar. So there are 2 pieces of the collar, and to help clean out the gills, we cut these off, but that is a big chunk of meat right there. As the fish head cooks, it's gonna start to break down a little, and then I think the fish head will sink down in a little more. I don't wanna add any more water because I don't want it to boil over, but now we're gonna cover this baby up. All right guys, so we are back inside. We took the pot off the burner and we had it going for about an hour, just like a nice slow boil. It actually did boil over one time, so we had to turn it down a little bit. But now I'm going to basically remove everything from the pot so that we can strain it. So we're gonna get rid of all the stuff that it's already cooked with, like the carrots and the onion, and then we're gonna obviously get rid of all of the bones. And there's gonna be a lot of weird slimy parts of like the skin of the fish that is just not really appetizing. So we also want to separate, like look at this, like that is appetizing. Beautiful, it's so hot, sorry. Beautiful white meat, there's a piece of bone there, but we're gonna separate the meat and then just get rid of anything that just looks like it's not appetizing. Look at that chunk of meat. Now, at the same time is where finding the correct bones that we're keeping come in. Obviously, you can tell that this is definitely one that we want to keep. This is the top part of the jaw. So we got 1 piece that we need to keep for sure. This is a part of the jaw that I also want. And I know this because I've done this before, but I will show you guys in detail, and we're gonna clean all these bones up, but I know this is another piece that I want. I'm looking for 8 bones that I'm gonna keep. I've separated all of the bone and all of the weird looking pieces from all the meat, and this is a whole plate full of beautiful meat that came off of that head. Isn't that a lot? Mm-hmm. And it kind of like fell apart, so there probably is more that I didn't get to get, but check this out. These are the eyeballs. Isn't that crazy? Kind of gross, but. And now for the part of straining our broth that we have here, our stock. Victor actually bought this online, and when it showed up to the house, I was like, what on earth is that? That thing is ginormous. But I've actually come to like it, especially for doing stuff like this, because it comes in handy. We're gonna pour this in. I did notice that a lot of the scales ended up at the bottom of the pot. Like all that. There's a bunch of, this is literally like all scales here. You see that? Can you hear it? It's all scales. So the scales kind of just like fell off. Okay, so I ended up finding all of the 8 pieces that I needed, which again, I'll show you guys in detail in a little bit once we get them cleaned up. But right now they still have some meat left on them and some gelatin, tissue, joint muscles, whatever it may be left over. So what we're gonna do now is I'm going to sit here and try to just get out all of these pieces that I don't want. And the pieces that I can't just get out with my fingers, just by rinsing, I'm going to take an old toothbrush.
Of your worst enemy.
And I'm gonna just scrub the best that I can to get out any little tiny bit of meat that's left in there. You really, really want to make sure you get every single tiny little piece of meat, because you got to think if you don't get it off, it's probably going to end up smelling later on. So I have cleaned up my 8 little bones, and you want to be really careful with that toothbrush, because these teeth, I'm pretty sure they're also held in by more pieces of meat and stuff in there. So technically, if you were to get it all out, I think the bones would fall out. So you just want to be gentle, and if you do lose one, keep it, and you can always just glue it back in. So just be very gentle. So if you look at the top of our stock, you see what looks like oil, which we didn't put any oil in the stock, but by boiling the fish bones and everything, the oil, the fat, and everything comes out of the meat. So I've done this before with bones after I have cleaned them and everything. I'm actually going to do another extra step and boil them just a little bit longer. I don't want a really heavy boil because, again, these are gentle and I don't want to lose any teeth. So I'm gonna put them in this little pot of water that's just barely boiling, and I want to boil them a little longer. And you'll see at the top of the surface that more of that oil is gonna come out of those bones. So basically, as these boil, more of that oil is gonna like come out of the bones, and that's what I want to get rid of out of these bones. I think it'll help them last longer, so that they don't yellow as much in the future, but that's just what I think. If you guys know, comment down below, because that's just what I have found to work. While we got the jaws boiling just a little bit longer, we're gonna start our soup now. In here we have some of that kohlrabi, nice and chopped up into small pieces. Then there's celery, carrot, and onion in here. And I'm gonna throw in 3 garlic cloves. Okay, so now I'm gonna add the fish back in to our soup. Time to enjoy the fruits of our labor. I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely a long process, but definitely a good way to respect your catch.
And your belly.
And it's good for you. This is yours. Do you want anything else in it?
No, it's good for now. I'll probably have another bowl. Okay, watch this. This is a piece of the cheek, and the reason I know that is you can see that it's got real long fibers like that. And as a fisherman, and you guys see that Brooke and I have eaten so many different species of fish, and when I hear people say like, oh, this tastes like lobster, this tastes like shellfish, or this tastes like scallops, I don't know why, but this cheek in this soup right here has a big shellfish flavor. It reminds me a lot of shellfish. It's got like a really sweet note to it. All the vegetables in here are delicious. I thoroughly enjoy it. And it's probably one of the healthiest things you can eat. you probably got underneath 200 calories in here, full of protein, full of good vegetables, fiber. Make a dying man well right here.
I think it's really important to be able to step out of your comfort zone and try new things. That was my first time I've ever made fish head soup before, but Victor has made it a bunch, and it's always absolutely delicious. At first, when I thought of fish head soup, I thought it sounded kind of weird, and it was probably gonna be really fishy because you're boiling the bones and everything, but it is not like that. I mean, you do have that delicious fish, seafoody flavor, but it's not like a bad fishy taste. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if you have a bad fish that's fishy, that's what I thought it was gonna taste like, but that's not what fish head soup tastes like. So if you've never tried it before, definitely give it a try. Victor actually made fish head soup with the Tilefish a few weeks ago, and he did like an Asian inspired fish head soup, and it was absolutely delicious. And I actually kept the jaws from that fish as well, because if you're making fish head soup, you might as well keep the bones from the jaw as well, because you already did all the hard part. So this right here are the jaws from that one. So I haven't peroxided these yet. So I'm actually gonna put these in the peroxide with my fish jaws as well. And unfortunately, since I wasn't really thinking about doing that, I only kept 6 of the pieces, but it's still gonna end up working out. I'll show you guys when we get to the gluing portion, but I prefer to have 8 pieces. But you can still do it with just these 6 as well. So now let's put our jaws in the hydrogen peroxide. So as you can see, there's some oil floating on the surface. So some oil did come out of the bones, but not a ton. I've definitely gotten more out of different fish bones that I've boiled before, but I think it's better to get that out than to just leave that in the bones. So like I said, you have to be really gentle with these teeth because they are very delicate. If you actually look at the bottom of the pot, a bunch of the little tiny baby teeth actually boiled out and fell out into the pot. If you can see that, those are just like the baby teeth. But most of the big teeth stayed intact.
I think those are probably the ones that were gonna fall out regardless, like they're new teeth coming in.
Time to add the hydrogen peroxide, and we want to completely submerge them. Alright guys, we have made it to my favorite part of the video, which is the wine and arts and crafts portion of the video, where we are going to glue our jaws together. So cheers, and let's get to it. Before we start, I am slightly disappointed in myself because of, let me just show you. Hopefully you can see this. You see all that? Those are the teeth. I don't know what happened. I have a few theories on it, but basically all of the teeth fell out of the top jaw of the Tilefish. The bottom jaw seems okay. I think a couple fell out of there. Now, like I said, I did the other Tilefish that Victor had also caught, and that one was completely fine. No, there was like one tooth that fell out of that one, but that happened in like the initial boiling process. I probably shouldn't have done that second boil because not a lot of oil came out of the bones, and I think it made it really fragile, and that's why all those teeth ended up falling out. When I first did the boil, there was only a few, and then after they sat in the hydrogen peroxide, a lot of the teeth fell out. So the difference between when I did that exact same thing with the first Tilefish that I did compared to the second one is during the boiling process of actually making the soup, this one boiled for a lot longer. So I'm thinking that a lot of those oils probably boiled out during the initial boiling while making the soup, and I probably shouldn't have boiled them the second time. Basically, I boiled it for too long. So if you're gonna make soup and you cook it for a long time, don't do that second boil like I did, because I think I really messed myself up by doing that. Now, I've never done a Tilefish jaw mount before, but the bone structure looks very similar to the Kubera snappers that we've done. I have 1, 2, 3 Kubera snappers, and we've also done shark jaws, but there's nothing to glue with the shark jaw. This is a like 50-pound Kubera snapper, and then this is like a 8-pound Kubera snapper. So the first Tilefish is like 8 pounds, this one's like 18. So I'm thinking it's gonna be kind of similar to this size, so I'm gonna use this as like a kind of little guide to go by of how I'm gonna glue these jaws together, because I think it's gonna look like this when we're finished. The teeth aren't as epic as a Kubera snapper. They got some amazing teeth, but I still think it's gonna be pretty cool. So I'm gonna give you guys a close-up of the jaws right now so you guys can see what pieces that you need to get when you're doing the boiling. Here's your 2 top jaw pieces. Here's the two bottom jaw pieces, which are connected at the beginning by some kind of flesh joint, which eventually deteriorates, pulls apart when you boil it. So that's why it ends up getting separated. This also happened. This broke off during the boiling process. Another thing to just make me sad, but we're gonna try to just glue that back on. But these pieces here slide in here. So we're gonna glue this, slides right in there, fits perfectly, that gets glued in there. And then this piece fits right here. You'll see in a second, but it fits right there above the jaw. There's all my extra little teeth that fell out of there. I mean, who's to say maybe he just needed to go to the dentist and his teeth were gonna fall out anyways. I don't know, but that's what I'll just keep telling myself to make me feel better about it. Now let's get to gluing. I should probably plug this in. It gets so hot though that I didn't want to start it too early. Ow. I just felt this and I felt like it wasn't even getting hot, but it is. All right, we are ready to go. We have glue. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these triangle pieces into the bottom part of the jaw. I was thinking about it and I actually haven't caught any of these fish that are here that we did the jaw mounts for. Victor has caught all three of these Kubera snappers and both of these tilefish. I've never caught a tilefish before, but the tilefish he caught in 900 feet of water jigging. So a lot of times people catch them deep dropping with electric reels, like putting bait down there, where he got these on the slow pitch setups, but 900 feet jigging almost like 2-pound jigs, which is pretty crazy. Definitely a lot of work, and that may or may not be why I've never done it before. So I am just using a hot glue gun. You could probably use super glue or something even better than that, but I've hot glued all of these and it seems to work well. So we glued the triangle pieces into the two bottom jaws. Now we're going to glue this top piece onto the top jaw. So this piece just glues in, well, just fits in right here. Now you can also do full head, like full skull mounts of fish. However, that is a lot of pieces, so I've never actually wanted to try to do that before. I don't even know how I would figure out where everything goes, but if you want to try doing a full skull mount, I mean, I think that would be really cool, so give it a try if you don't want to just do the jaws. So I basically just try to figure out how these things fit in there the best, and whatever you do to one side, just do to the other. There's our top jaw pieces. So now I'm going to glue the two top jaw pieces together. As you can see that you could make them wider or skinnier, but these ones kind of make sense more versus the bottom. There's a lot more play to it of how they could be glued. So I like to glue the top together first to get an idea of the angle of how I should glue the bottom ones. Didn't even tell you guys how long I sat them in hydrogen peroxide for, which was about a little over 24 hours. And then I took them out of the hydrogen peroxide and I actually set them outside in the sun for maybe like 6 hours so that they could really dry out. Okay, there's the top. Now I'm going to kind of imagine this to glue on the back and then determine how wide to make that bottom jaw. The bottom jaw is glued, top jaw's finished. Now the last thing to do is to glue them together. And I think at this point I'm actually going to try to glue some of these teeth back in there because I think it's going to be easier versus when it's completely finished off. So that's what I'm going to do now. Definitely gonna need a sip of wine for that one. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little sad. It is too hard to try to hot glue these teeth in, so I moved on to gluing the other jaws together. And this one is finished. Now I am breaking out the super glue because I think that is gonna be easier than the hot glue to try to get these little teeth in. And they are so small that it's hard to even try to get them where you want them to go because they're just so small. If I had like little arts and crafts tweezers or something, that would probably really help us in this situation. It's just not coming out of here. What on earth? This is brand new. This is brand new super glue. Oh boy, nothing can be easy. Nope. Don't tell me my super glue is old. You're kidding. Oh no, it worked. No, it didn't. I'm just gonna end up gluing my fingers together. It says glues in 10 seconds. This is taking longer than 10 seconds. Ah! Definitely drying on my fingers. Why is it not drying on my teeth? I'm just gonna try to stay calm. Calm, Brook. Breathe in, breathe out. This is not good. I do not recommend super glue. I do not recommend super glue. Oh no. All I can say is whatever you do, do not overboil it. All I've done so far is all like the bigger teeth. There's no stinking way that I'm gonna do those baby teeth. There's no chance. No chance. 10 seconds my butt. This is not drying. Why is it not drying? Now, despite me being really discouraged with this, I do think that this is a very cool thing to do. I think Kubera snappers have the coolest teeth, but there is a lot of things out there that also have some neat teeth, like barracudas, kingfish, wahoo. They have some sharp teeth, so you don't have to just do this to, you know, a Kubera snapper or a tilefish. You could do this to any fish that you think have a cool set of jaws. So we're making some progress. Can you guys see that? We have definitely glued in a decent amount of teeth there. My spirits are lifting. We are making some progress here. Jesus. Oh no.
Did you finish?
No.
Did you start? No.
Yes. I finished this one. Now
Okay.
I have it on my elbow.
I heard there was a sad girl in this room because all her teeth fell out on her jaw. Is that true?
I am sad.
Okay, don't be sad. First of all, thank you because it's the fish that I caught.
I know, I said I was thinking about it. I didn't catch any of these.
But it's a nice decoration for the house. I think they're really cool. And I don't know why they're falling out, but they still look really good, Brooke. You gotta give yourself more credit.
It's just hard.
So it goes to show that little cartilage, you need a little bit of it in there, and you need it to dry.
I 100% think if you boiled it even longer, every single tooth would fall out.
Yeah.
I think with any of these, because I don't think the only way they're being held on is by some kind of neat tissue. Yeah. And if you boiled it forever, eventually every single tooth is going to fall out. Right?
Yes.
Like they're not, the bones are not connected.
Yeah. Like the video right now for Brookie because Brookie was all sad. So cheer her up. Like the video, comment below, show her some positive feedback. I'm proud of you, babe.
Thanks, Vic.
You're welcome.
The last time I did this, some people commented that instead of boiling, you should put the head, the fish head, in a pile of ants, but we don't really have like ant piles here. We actually tried to do that one time with a pair of shark jaws in the yard, and we woke up and the jaws were completely moved like to the other side of the yard. So I don't know if it was raccoons or just like what the neighborhood cats that were messing with it. Then I tried to tie them to a tree so that nothing could steal the jaws, and they still ended up getting moved and nothing ended up happening. It was not worth leaving it out in the dirt for ants to try to eat it. We just don't really have that kind of like environment to do that. We don't really have like the ants that I'm imagining to eat all the flesh off of the head mount, but hey, if you live in a place where you could do that, go for it. Look at that. Before we had like 3 teeth on one side, 4 on the other. I'm not gonna say they're perfect. Definitely don't pay me to do your dental work. You guys are probably like, Brooke, stop complaining. We get it. I'm gonna need some more wine. Okay, so started out really, really bad, but I'd say we finished pretty good. I basically put all of those little teeth that were left in there, at least all the big ones that I could actually use. I left some of the small ones that fell out because they were just way too small for me to work with, but I'd say it's not too shabby. So this is the one that had all the 8 pieces, the 18-pound Tilefish. And then this one was the 8-pound Tilefish. To compare the two, it's only slightly bigger. 10 pounds doesn't really do much to the size of the mouth, I guess. But pretty cool to be able to compare the two. Well guys, we finished our jaw mount, we finished our art project, and we finished our wine. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I definitely recommend giving this a try. Definitely make the fish head soup, and then you are already halfway there into making your jaw mount. Take some time, glue your jaws together. It's a great way to remember your catch instead of just having a photo. It's a cool conversation starter. I like to use them as home decor. That's obviously up to you. I'm starting a little collection here, and I can't wait to see the next fish that I'm gonna do it to. So, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.